Now I will discuss how altering time can be one of the most fundamental techniques for a screenwriter to employ in generating narrative complexity and intrigue. Understanding and disruption of the continuity of attention. This technique involves extracting a moment from the timeline and integrating it elsewhere within the story's narrative. Let's explore these possibilities. Time is a continuous arrow. Here we have 8 phases in any story, each showing a small progression, ensuring a seamless narrative flow. And then a rise. There are 8 phases ensuring time's continuity remains undisturbed throughout the narrative. In the flat VAT, what we do is that we begin in the present and keep moving the story forward continuously. And at a certain moment, we stop the flow of time. We refer to a narrative event we have seen before and include it here. Or we refer to a past event that we haven't seen that is part of the character's past, or one of the characters, and incorporate it here, ensuring that this disruption of the time flow does not impact the continuity of progression, maintaining the narrative's seamless flow. And a time bubble forms, allowing us to return to that moment, to revisit this event. The flashback is revolutionary because it simulates memory. It mimics how memory functions within the human mind's processes. Following that example, there are 2 basic types of flashbacks, those someone remembers. Thus, prior to the flashback, we need to observe a character who will be the one recalling the events that follow. This sets the stage for the memory to unfold. Or we have a flashback that is under the director's control, where the entire narrative is interrupted by a prior event, and we somehow lack the ability to know who is remembering or why this narrative event is being presented to us. The flashback has various types. The most frequent type is resolution flashbacks, which reveal information through the flashback that solves a mystery established earlier in the story. Once this flashback occurs, everything falls into place and clarity is achieved regarding the central question posed by the narrative. And ensure the information flow is complete, understanding what truly occurred, though some structural doubt persists within the system's framework. The subsequent flashback presented here is a lock. Unlike the previous one, this doubt flashback engulfs the viewer or reader in a sea of uncertainty, making it difficult to comprehend its meaning or significance. They're in a state of profound confusion, unable to grasp the significance of what they're witnessing right now. The central symbol or event depicted seems enigmatic and is often repeated in films as a recurring motif or puzzle for the audience to solve. When we truly understand what it is, we can grasp the entire event of the movie, unlocking its full meaning. For example, those who watched the film 12 Monkeys will remember the peculiar flashback that appeared to be a flash-forward. With time travel, however, this concept is reversed. The peculiar airport chase flashback disrupting the film's flow, which disrupts the film multiple times, instilling numerous uncertainties in the narrative until the moment we finally comprehend its true essence and what it signifies. It's a prime example of a flashback filled with doubt. A movie employing flashbacks is a complete narrative told from the present, depending entirely on past events, to explain how the current situation came to be. This is akin to a trauma flashback. A trauma flashback reveals the reasons behind a character's actions. Establishes a secure space containing an emotionally charged essence and illustrates the roots of that emotional core, delving into the past traumas that lead to current behaviors. This technique was particularly notable in psychoanalytic films, where it was essential to depict the cause and origin of the protagonist's present-day behaviors are explored through a narrative technique that uses both progressive flashbacks and false flashbacks, which involve interweaving scenes from an alternate timeline that seem to be set in the past but are actually subplots from another period. We are watching a film in 2019 and suddenly see something occurring in 1999. We return to 2019, continue the story, and again slip into 1999. Initially, these 1999 scenes appear as flashbacks, but they are part of a cohesive narrative. When we initially view scenes, we believe they are standalone flashbacks questioning the relevance of certain devices. However, as these moments unfold sequentially, it becomes clear that they form an integral part of a comprehensive narrative set in the past. There is a very specific type of flashback in certain narratives known as the flash side. This technique uses the same structural framework as a progressive flashback, but instead of looking back at events from the past, it explores scenarios set in a parallel universe. The story follows characters who exist within this alternate reality, and then we have the same character or others are in another universe. And at first, we don't know in what time they are. They aren't in another time, they are in a completely alternate universe. Finally, there's a very specific flashback type seen in some films of individuals who recall past events and can engage with them and their memories. Woody Allen films often depict him returning to his childhood, allowing interaction with characters and memories. This narrative style is a unique storytelling device, blending past and present seamlessly. It's known as an interaction flashback. Unlike a flashback, a flash forward or anticipation involves a future narrative event within the time continuum, creating suspense. It is extracted and presented in the present tense. We have a movie, we progress in the movie, and suddenly the flow of time is interrupted, showing us this example. The example of the greatest disturbance, in this case of the main character, found here. But we are seeing it here. And it typically creates suspense because the audience knows that negative events will eventually impact the main character. This technique can also serve as foreshadowing, hinting at the possibility that the flashback might actually be a vision of future events, implying the protagonist has prophetic abilities. But typically, directors use this technique as a tool to heighten dramatic tension through narrative alterations, aimed at creating suspense for the audience rather than providing information to the characters within the story. Imagery or a mock-up in a film breaks the temporal continuity. Neither